Have you ever been jilted, or you are just jilted now? Somebody promised to marry you. You told your friends, your relatives, your well-wishers, everybody is prepared that the D-Day is almost coming. And you wake up one morning, that person served you breakfast. Depression sets in. You are dejected, humiliated, disappointed. You feel like committing suicide. What is next step for you to take? There's a remedy for you. Don't just sit back at home, cry and be sober and feel dejected. There's a remedy for you. The law says you can be compensated. If you want to know more, click on the subscribe button and follow me. Hi, my name is AI Ango. I'm a legal practitioner, notary public, and a chartered arbitrator. Today we'll be discussing what in legal term we call breach of promise to marry. Breach of promise to marry is a situation where a person promises another person that he is going to marry that person, only for that person to prepare to get involved in so many activities based on the promise that he has been promised or she has been promised, and then one day wake up to find out that that person has jilted her or jilted him or refused to go on with the marriage. At that point, I believe that person will surely be disoriented. That person will be disappointed. That person will feel humiliation. That person will feel disgrace and wouldn't know what to do next. Some will even feel the urge to commit suicide because of the shame that has come upon them. Today we'll be looking at what is the remedy for such a person if that happens. By the provision of the Marriage Act, which is a law that is domesticated in Nigeria. When we say domesticated in Nigeria, we mean it's a law that is not ours. It's a foreign law that we have brought into Nigeria and we have accepted it and made it our own so that it can be enforceable, can be an actionable act in Nigeria. It provides that where there is a breach for marriage, promise of marriage, the person that has been promised marriage and disappointed can run to the courts and get redress. How? You may want to know. It is very simple. When you get to court, you must prove that one, there is a promise from another person that he wants to marry you.
Yes!
And you have put in effort, you believe that promise, you work with that promise, you agreed with that promise, you told your people that this is the person that is getting married to me, this is the person I will get married to. You put in effort, you spent money. You must prove to the court that you have done all this. And at the end of the day, this person decides to jilt you. Two, you must also prove to the court that you have spent a lot of money. You have been traumatized psychologically. You have undergone a lot of humiliation by the reason of that breach of promise to marry. And when the court look at all these evidences you are able to portray, display before the court will surely grant you compensation. Know this, the court will not compel the person to marry you. No. Rather, the court will rather grant you monetary compensation. The court will quantify the stress, the distress, the humiliation and other unfortunate things that you must have gone through. The court will quantify it in monetary terms and then grant you compensation so that you can pick up your life and go on with it. I tell you, when you are jilted, don't just sit back at home and wallop in self-pity, dejection, humiliation, cry, and you feel the impulse to commit suicide, don't remain in that situation. Go to the court, seek redress, and definitely the court will grant you that. You must understand that there is need for people to start going to court to seek redress in this situation, where somebody promised you to marry you and at the end of the day decide to jilt you at the last minute. You can go to court, and the court will surely penalize that person, and in that stand it will serve as a deterrent to other people who have the potentials of breaking people's hearts recklessly. You don't have to just wait and then kill yourself in self-pity. You have to pick yourself up, do the right thing, and go to court. There are instances where a person will sponsor one from secondary up to tertiary level, and maybe at the end of the day, that other person that has been sponsored will look at and say, this person is not my class. After he has promised her or she has promised to marry him, because he has gone up to a certain level of academic qualification, now that person feels that person that she had promised or he had promised to marry is no longer in the same class with, and at that point he will jilt or she will jilt that person. That is a breach of promise to marry, and the court will compensate you. Or on the other hand, someone will promise marriage to you. You have spent everything, you have told everybody that this is the person that you want to get married to, and that person now and again will decide to change his mind with no cause, no reason, no genuine reason, and then jilt you. I urge you, don't remain like a weeping dog. Be bold and go to court. Yes, you have compensation that can be given to you. At least you can pick up your life with. Somebody will promise marriage to you and give you a ring. You wear the ring for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You eventually become Lord of the Ring. And then he will say he's no longer interested. Don't let it go in that manner. Go to the court and seek redress. However, we should understand that there are difference to one who opted out of promise. For example, someone has promised to marry another person, and then he realized or she realized that this person is suffering a terminal disease, which that person did not reveal to her or him at the point of their dating towards the promise. And that regard, that person can opt out of that promise to marry, and that will be a very good defense. That I am not aware this person is suffering from so and so disease, not until I have promised to marry that person, and now I realize it, I can opt out of that promise, and there is not going to be any repercussion for that. Okay, there's another defense also, where somebody will come to you and say, my father said, your father said he's going to marry you. That is a third-party promise. A third-party promise can never be relied upon as a breach of promise to marry. You can never come to a person and say, your father told me that you said you want to marry me. It is not an excuse in court. Or your father met my father and my father agreed that I'm going to marry you. A third-party promise is not a promise. So you can't rely on that. Where there is a promise, it must be a direct promise. It must be a direct promise. And where we say a direct promise, we mean Mr. A talking to Miss C directly that I want to marry you. I promise I'm going to marry you. I gave you ring as an engagement ring to further strengthen the promise that I want to marry you. In that regard, that is where we say a promise to marry. And where there is a breach in this aspect, whether from the lady or from the gentleman, then definitely there is going to be a repercussion. Don't just sit at home, like we earlier said, and think of committing suicide and think of how am I going to pick up with my life. Go to the court, get redress, and then move on with your life. Don't just get mad. Get a lawyer. Thank you. If you have questions or comments, please press on the subscribe button, go to the comment section, drop your questions or comments regarding this video, and we'll respond to you promptly. Thank you.